Have you ever pushed so hard to become clearer, stronger, and more advanced, only to discover that the harder you chase it, the more anxious you become inside? Have you ever asked yourself why a path that promises freedom can sometimes make you feel more tight, more irritated, and more lost, as if you are running after wind with empty hands? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about a key that sounds high level but is actually painfully practical. It decides whether your practice becomes a living road or a stressful performance. It decides whether your wisdom grows quietly over time or whether you feel blocked and hollow, no matter how many hours you put in. Here are the two ideas I want you to keep close from the beginning. First, the biggest reason people get stuck is not lack of discipline. It is not lack of talent. It is not that they are not smart enough. The biggest reason is the direction of their heart. If the heart points inward in a self-centered way, practice becomes heavy. If the heart points outward in compassion, practice becomes light and powerful. Second, the moment you understand why the path asks for compassion and not just self-improvement, many knots loosen by themselves. The mind stops fighting reality. The ego stops squeezing the practice. The heart stops demanding a trophy called awakening. Now let us be honest. Many people start spiritual practice because they are hurting. They are anxious. They are exhausted. They are tired of the world. They want relief. That is not wrong. That is human. The problem begins when the mind turns relief into a new kind of ambition. The mind says, I will practice so I never get hurt again. I will practice so I always win. I will practice so I am untouchable. I will practice so I can finally prove I am better than my past. I will practice so I can be above other people. At first you might not admit it. You might dress it in spiritual language. You might say, I want clarity. I want awakening. I want realization. But underneath, the fuel is still the same old hunger. The hunger to protect a fragile self. And when practice is fueled by that hunger, it can become stuck. Because you are trying to use awakening to strengthen the very self that awakening is meant to soften. Let me tell you a story. Listen as if you are watching a movie. Because if you recognize yourself in the character, it will not be a reason to feel ashamed. It will be a reason to wake up. I will call him Ryan. Ryan was sincere. Not the fake kind of sincere that performs spirituality for attention. He was sincerely tired. He worked hard and still felt empty. He tried improving his life in worldly ways. Better habits, better career goals, better routines, better relationships. Some of it helped, but the deeper restlessness stayed. He had a quiet fear that life could collapse at any time. He had a quiet anger that the world felt unfair. He had a quiet sadness that love never felt fully safe. One day Ryan found a teaching on meditation and karma. The teacher spoke with calm confidence. The teacher did not promise magic. The teacher said something simple. Your mind is trainable. Your suffering is not a life sentence. The moment Ryan heard that, his chest softened. For the first time in a long time, he felt hope that did not depend on outside conditions. So he started practicing. At first, the results came quickly. He learned to sit and breathe. He learned to watch thoughts without immediately obeying them. He learned that anger rises and falls like weather. He learned that cravings are not commands. He learned that if he paused before speaking, he created less regret. His life improved. He felt lighter. People around him noticed. They said, you seem calmer. This is where the trap started. Ryan began to love that identity. The calm one. The awakened one in training. The serious practitioner. He began to believe his value was now tied to progress. He began measuring his mind the way he used to measure achievements. How many minutes did I sit today? How calm was I? Did I reach a quiet state? Did I have fewer thoughts? Did I feel bliss? Did I have insight? Did I win against my emotion? He did not say win out loud, but that is how it felt. He was fighting, and the more he fought, the more his mind resisted. Some days his meditation felt great. He felt proud. He told himself, I am getting somewhere. Then the next day, his mind was noisy. He felt frustrated. He judged himself. He thought, I am failing. I am not cut out for this. Then he did what many driven people do. He pushed harder. He added more sitting. He added more study. He added more strict rules. He became less flexible. He became more tense. He started seeing practice as a project. He started seeing other practitioners as competition, even if he never admitted it. He started comparing teachers, comparing methods, comparing experiences. And here is the strange part. His outer discipline increased, but his inner peace decreased. He was not becoming freer. He was becoming tighter. One evening, Ryan finished a long sitting session. He expected to feel calm. Instead, he felt empty. Not peaceful empty, but hollow empty, like the heart had been drained of warmth. He stood up and looked in the mirror and asked himself a question that scared him. Why does this feel like nothing? He sat back down and tried again, forcing concentration like someone forcing a locked door. The mind resisted even more. He became irritated. Then he became ashamed for being irritated. Then he became more determined. Then he became more exhausted. That night he could not sleep. His chest felt heavy. His mind replayed a thought that would not leave him. What if I am practicing wrong? A few weeks later, Ryan attended a small community gathering. After the talk, he approached an older practitioner, I will call Daniel. Daniel was not flashy. He did not speak in complicated terms. But there was a quiet steadiness in him that felt like a warm lamp. Ryan asked Daniel the question he had been carrying. I want awakening. I practice a lot, but I feel stuck. The more I try, the more empty it feels. Daniel listened carefully. Then he asked Ryan a question that did not sound spiritual at all. Why do you want awakening? Ryan answered quickly. To be free. To be peaceful. Daniel nodded. Then he asked again, slower. Why do you want freedom and peace? Ryan hesitated. He did not want to sound selfish. He said, so I can live better. So I can stop suffering. Daniel nodded again. Then he asked the third question, the one that opened the hidden door. When you imagine awakening, what do you imagine you will become? Ryan looked away. He felt exposed, because he knew the answer was not noble. He imagined becoming untouchable. He imagined never being embarrassed again. He imagined never being rejected again. He imagined being above people who hurt him. He imagined being strong in a way that nobody could shake. Daniel did not judge him. He simply said something gentle and sharp at the same time. So you are using the path to build armor. Ryan felt defensive. He said, is that wrong? I have been hurt. Daniel said, it is human. But if you practice only to protect yourself, your practice will keep circling around the self. And the self is the tight knot. So your practice becomes tight too. You keep polishing the prison door instead of walking out. That sentence landed like a bell. Polishing the prison door. Ryan said quietly, breathing slower. Daniel continued. The deepest purpose of awakening is not to make the self more powerful. It is to loosen the grip of self-centeredness so compassion and wisdom can flow. If your heart is only asking, what do I get? Then every practice becomes a transaction. Transactions create grasping. Grasping creates suffering. Then you wonder why your practice feels empty. Ryan asked, then what should I do? If I do not practice for myself, who do I practice for? Daniel answered with a simple phrase. Practice so your heart becomes useful. Useful. That word surprised Ryan. Daniel explained. If your practice makes you kinder, more patient, more honest, more compassionate, more able to reduce suffering around you, then the practice is alive. If your practice makes you proud, rigid, judgmental, impatient, obsessed with progress, then it is becoming self-centered again. The mind is using spiritual effort to feed a spiritual ego. Ryan said, but I can barely handle my own problems. How can I think about helping others? Daniel said. That is exactly the doorway. Helping others is not always big charity. Sometimes it is the decision to stop spreading your pain. Sometimes it is learning to speak without cruelty. Sometimes it is learning to listen without making everything about you. Sometimes it is choosing patience so you do not poison your home. These small choices are compassion. And compassion is the clean fuel that keeps practice from turning into empty ambition. Ryan went home that night with a new question. What if my stuckness is not a failure, but a signal that my motivation is too narrow? That question became a turning point. Now I want to slow down and explain the real structure behind this. In everyday language, when your motivation is self-centered, even spiritual self-centeredness, the mind is always measuring. Am I getting better? Am I progressing? Am I special? Am I advanced? Am I safe yet? Am I above pain yet? This measuring creates tension. Tension creates inner noise. Inner noise makes meditation harder. Then you push more. Pushing creates more tension. This is why practice feels stuck. You are squeezing a living thing. But when your motivation shifts toward compassion, something changes. You stop measuring yourself every second. You stop using practice as a mirror for pride and shame. You stop demanding a certain experience. You stopped reading meditation like a performance test. Instead, practice becomes service. Service does not mean you become a doormat. Service means your heart is willing to mature. It means you are willing to grow beyond childish self-obsession. It means you are willing to let your practice bless others, even quietly. And here is the paradox. When you stop chasing awakening for yourself, awakening comes closer. Why? Because awakening is not an object for the self to possess. Awakening is the loosening of possession itself. So the self cannot grab it like a trophy. The self can only soften and let it arise. This is why many traditions emphasize compassion. Compassion dissolves self-obsession. When self-obsession dissolves, wisdom can enter. Wisdom sees karma clearly. Wisdom sees impermanence clearly. Wisdom sees that clinging creates suffering. Compassion gives you the courage to let go without turning cold. Now let us bring in karma, because karma is not a superstition here. Karma is the engine. When you practice with self-centered ambition, you plant seeds of grasp. You plant seeds of comparison. You plant seeds of pride and shame. Those seeds ripen as mental tightness and emotional dryness. That dryness feels like emptiness, but not the clean emptiness of wisdom. It is the emptiness of a heart that is trying to love itself without loving others. When you practice with compassion, you plant seeds of generosity. You plant seeds of patience. You plant seeds of humility. Those seeds ripen as warmth and steadiness. That steadiness becomes a stable platform for insight. Insight is not forced. It matures. This is why people say practice is planting causes, not grabbing results. The more you grab results, the more they slip. Now I want to tell you the second part of Ryan's story, because this is where the teaching becomes real in daily life. Ryan decided to test Daniel's advice. He did not try to become a saint overnight. He chose one simple experiment. Every day, before sitting meditation, he would ask one question. How can my practice reduce suffering today? Not reduce my suffering only. Reduce suffering in the room. At first he did not know how to answer. So he started with something basic. He stopped using harsh tone at home. He stopped interrupting people to prove a point. He stopped making sarcasm his shield. He apologized faster when he made a mistake. He listened longer before replying. He tried to help one person each day in a small way without needing recognition. Then he sat. Something surprising happened. His meditation became easier. Not because he forced it, but because his heart was less conflicted. When you create less regret in the day, the mind becomes quieter at night. When you speak more gently, the nervous system becomes less charged. When you stop spreading your agitation, your inner world becomes less agitated. These are karmic mechanics. Ryan also noticed that recitation felt different. When he recited, he used to recite like a worker doing a quota, trying to earn peace. Now he recited like someone making an offering of attention, an offering of sincerity, an offering of kindness. The recitation stopped feeling empty because the heart was no longer asking, "What do I get?" The heart was asking, "What do I give?" That shift is huge. Now, there is a deep fear hidden inside many people that stops them from making this shift. They fear that if they become compassionate, they will be exploited. They fear that if they care about others, they will lose themselves. They fear that if they stop chasing their own awakening, they will never reach it. They fear that if they soften, they will be weak. This fear is understandable. Many people have been hurt, but wisdom teaches something subtle. Compassion is not weakness. Compassion is clarity with warmth. A clear, compassionate person can set boundaries. They can say no. They can walk away from harm. They can speak truth, but they do it without hatred. They do it without turning the heart into stone. Hatred makes you hard. Hardness makes you stuck. Compassion makes you flexible. Flexibility makes the path open. Now I want to bring another story into this, because not everyone gets stuck the way Ryan did. Some people get stuck in a different shape. I will call her Maya. Maya was deeply devoted. She loved spiritual practice. She loved teachings. She loved retreats. She loved the feeling of being close to something sacred. But she also carried a quiet desperation. She wanted to be someone. She wanted to be seen as advanced. She wanted her teacher to praise her. She wanted her community to admire her. She wanted to feel special in a world where she had felt invisible. So she practiced hard. She volunteered. She memorized teachings. She posted reflections online. People praised her. She felt a temporary high. Then the high faded and the hunger returned. This is the problem with practicing for identity. Identity is a hungry ghost. It eats and it is never full. Maya began feeling frustrated. She thought, I am doing everything right. Why do I still feel empty? One day, during a retreat, she sat in meditation and felt intense dryness. Her mind was quiet, but her heart felt far away from herself. She opened her eyes and looked around at the room. Everyone looked peaceful. That made her feel worse. She thought, I am the only one failing. After the session, she went to a senior practitioner and confessed, I feel empty. I feel like my practice is not real. The senior practitioner asked her, when you practice, what are you trying to feed? Maya did not understand at first. The practitioner continued, are you feeding compassion? Or are you feeding the need to be someone? Maya felt tears. She realized the truth. She had been feeding the need to be someone. Then the practitioner said something that changed Maya's relationship with practice. If you want your practice to become real, make it less about you. That sentence sounds simple, but it can break a cage. Maya asked, how? The practitioner said, start doing good that nobody will know about. Start helping people who cannot repay you. Start making offerings that do not increase your image. Let your practice become invisible. Invisible practice is often the purest practice. Maya resisted. Her ego wanted credit, but she tried anyway. She began helping quietly. She began doing small acts of kindness without telling anyone. She began dedicating her meditation to people who were suffering. She began praying for people she disliked. That last one was hard, but it softened her pride. Over time, something changed. Her emptiness changed texture. It became spacious rather than hollow. This is an important distinction. Hollow emptiness is the emptiness of disconnection. Spacious emptiness is the emptiness of non-clinging. Spacious emptiness feels warm and open. It contains compassion. Hollow emptiness feels cold and dry. It contains ego. So when people say, I am chanting and it feels empty, often the emptiness is not the wisdom kind. It is the ego kind. The ego kind says, I want results and I am not getting them. The wisdom kind says, I am letting go and becoming free. How do you know which one you have? Look at whether your compassion is growing. If compassion grows, your emptiness is spacious. If compassion shrinks, your emptiness is hollow. Now, let us talk about awakening itself, because the word can confuse people. Many people imagine awakening as a permanent high. They imagine never feeling fear again, never feeling sadness again, never feeling insecurity again, never feeling anger again. That fantasy is another trap. Awakening is not becoming a statue. Awakening is becoming honest and free. Free does not mean you never feel emotions. Free means you are no longer owned by them. Free means you can feel sadness and still be kind. You can feel anger and still choose wise speech. You can feel fear and still act ethically. You can feel craving and still not harm yourself. This freedom grows naturally when self-centeredness loosen. Because self-centeredness makes every emotion personal. It makes every emotion a threat to identity. When compassion grows, emotions become weather. You still feel them, but you do not build a house inside the storm. This is wisdom in daily life. Now I want to bring the conversation to the phrase that many people in spiritual circles use. The intention. In many Buddhist teachings, the intention behind practice matters more than the technique. You can meditate with pride and create pride. You can meditate with compassion and create compassion. You can recite with greed for results and create greed. You can recite with sincerity and create sincerity. This is karma at the root level. Karma is not only action. Karma is the direction of the heart. So if you want to know why you feel stuck, examine intention. Are you practicing to be admired? Are you practicing to be untouchable? Are you practicing to win? Are you practicing to escape responsibility? Are you practicing to avoid pain? Are you practicing to protect ego? If yes, do not hate yourself. Simply see it. Seeing is already the beginning of wisdom. Then, gently shift. Practice to reduce suffering. Practice to become kinder. Practice to become more honest. Practice to build patience. Practice to purify speech. Practice to serve. You might think, but I still want peace for myself. Of course. The irony is that compassion brings peace more reliably than self-obsession. Why? Because self-obsession makes you fragile. It makes you sensitive to praise and blame. It makes you anxious about progress. It makes you easily offended. It makes you constantly check your inner scoreboard. Compassion makes you stable. It gives your life meaning. It makes your heart larger than your moods. It makes you less dependent on validation. It makes you less obsessed with self-evaluation. This stability supports wisdom. Wisdom without compassion becomes cold. Compassion without wisdom becomes exhausted. Together, they become a path. Now let me show you how this looks in real relationships, because that is where your practice is tested. Imagine someone disrespects you. The self-centered practitioner thinks, how dare they? I must protect my image. I must win. I must prove I am right. The mind gets hot. Speech becomes sharp. Karma becomes messy. The compassionate practitioner still notices the sting. They are not numb, but they ask a different question. What is the most skillful response that reduces suffering, including mine? Sometimes the answer is silence. Sometimes it is a boundary. Sometimes it is a calm truth. Sometimes it is walking away. Sometimes it is speaking firmly without humiliation. This is compassion with wisdom. When you practice like that, your daily life becomes less filled with regret. Less regret means less mental noise. Less noise means meditation becomes deeper. Deeper meditation supports clearer insight. Clear insight dissolves clinging. Dissolved clinging is awakening. Do you see the chain? It is all connected. Now I want to speak about another common detour. The detour of spiritual pride. Spiritual pride often looks like this. I practice harder than others. My method is higher. My teacher is pure. My understanding is deeper. Others are still asleep. Even if you never say these words, the feeling can exist, and the feeling creates separation. Separation shrinks compassion. Shrunk compassion makes the path dry. In many traditions, pride is considered a deep obstacle, not because you should hate yourself for it, but because pride blocks learning. A proud mind cannot receive. A proud mind must already be right. But awakening requires humility. Humility is not low self-esteem. Humility is the willingness to see clearly, to admit you do not know, to keep learning, to keep softening. So one sign your practice is turning in the right direction is this: you become easier to be around. You become more patient. You become less interested in winning arguments. You become more willing to apologize. You become more gentle with your own flaws. You become more compassionate toward others' flaws. If the opposite is happening, your practice is turning into a new ego project. Now let us bring Ryan back, because his story shows how a person can shift. After months of practicing this new intention, Ryan noticed something. He was no longer obsessed with special states. He used to sit and secretly demand an experience. Peace, bliss, silence, a breakthrough. He would judge the session like a product review. Now he sat and cared more about character. Was he kinder today? Was he more honest? Did he create less harm? Did he forgive faster? Did he listen more? Did he restrain harsh speech? These questions might sound less mystical, but they are the foundation of a liberated life. Because awakening is not only what happens in meditation. Awakening is how you live when you are tired, when you are triggered, when you are disappointed, when you are praised, when you are blamed. Karma is created most intensely in those moments. Ryan also noticed that his anxiety decreased, not because he controlled life better, but because his heart stopped gripping life as tightly. When you practice only for yourself, you treat life as a threat. You demand safety. You demand control. You demand that people behave. When they do not, you suffer. When compassion grows, you still prefer safety, but you accept reality more easily. You stop fighting the fact that life includes change. You stop demanding perfection from people. You stop demanding that the world protect your ego. This acceptance is not passive. It is wise. It allows you to choose skillful actions without panic. That is why compassion makes practice powerful. It reduces panic. And panic is one of the biggest causes of spiritual stuckness. A panicked mind cannot settle. A panicked mind cannot see clearly. A panicked mind cannot let go. So if you want to stop being stuck, you must reduce panic. Compassion reduces panic because it widens the heart beyond the small self. Now I want to address something that might be sitting quietly in some of you. You might be thinking, if I stop practicing for myself, will I lose motivation? This is a real fear, especially for people who were trained by achievement culture. They rely on self-centered goals to move, but there is a deeper fuel that is more stable: meaning. Meaning is a stronger fuel than ego. Ego burns hot and fast, then crashes. Meaning burns stay. If your practice is about reducing suffering in the world, even one household, even one relationship, even one workplace, even one community, then your practice has meaning. Meaning keeps you practicing even when you do not feel inspired. Meaning keeps you practicing even when meditation feels boring. Meaning keeps you practicing even when you fail. Because you are not practicing to feel special today. You are practicing to become useful over a lifetime. This is how destiny changes. Destiny is not only what happens to you. Destiny is what you become through repetition. If you repeat self-centered motivation, you become tighter. If you repeat compassion, you become freer. Now let me share a final story that ties the whole teaching together. Because sometimes one story can carry more weight than many explanations. There was a woman I will call Helen who practiced for many years. She studied deeply and sat daily. People respected her, but she was often irritated. She often corrected others. She often felt disappointed by the community. She often judged new practitioners as lazy. She felt like she carried the whole path on her shoulders. One day, an older teacher visited and spoke quietly to the group. After the talk, Helen approached the teacher and complained, "People are not serious. They waste time. They gossip. They practice wrong. It is frustrating." The teacher listened and asked, "Why does it frustrate you?" Helen said, "Because I care about the Dharma." The teacher nodded and asked, "Do you care about the Dharma? Or do you care about being right about the Dharma?" Helen froze. The teacher continued softly, "If your care is mixed with ego, it becomes anger. If your care is clean, it becomes compassion. Compassion does not need to crush people. Compassion invites people. Compassion makes the path easier to enter, not harder." Helen felt tears. She realized she had been using the Dharma as a weapon to protect her identity as a serious practitioner. She did not want to admit it, but it was true. The teacher said one more thing that changed her. "If you want awakening, stop asking what the world owes you. Start asking what you can give without losing your goodness." That sentence became her new compass. Over time, Helen changed. She still practiced deeply, but she became warmer. She stopped humiliating people with knowledge. She started encouraging them. She became more patient with beginners. She became less obsessed with purity and more focused on kindness. And something happened that surprised her. Her own mind became quieter. She had been trying to force quiet through control, but quiet came through compassion. This is the same teaching again. Now I want to bring everything together in a closing reflection that is meant to create real resonance, not just understanding. If you are stuck, if your recitation feels empty, if your meditation feels dry, if your mind feels tight, do not immediately blame your technique. Look at your heart direction. Are you practicing to become untouchable? Are you practicing to win? Are you practicing to prove something? Are you practicing to escape pain without maturing? Are you practicing to build a spiritual identity? If yes, that is not a sin. It is simply a cause. And causes have effects. The effect is tightness, dryness, stuckness. So choose a new cause. Choose compassion. Compassion in daily speech. Compassion in how you treat your family. Compassion in how you treat strangers. Compassion in how you treat your own mistakes. Compassion in how you view people who are not on the path yet. Then keep practicing with that intention. Over time, your practice will change texture. Meditation will feel less like a job and more like a homecoming. Recitation will feel less like counting and more like remembering. Study will feel less like collecting and more like becoming. Ethics will feel less like pressure and more like protection. Awakening will feel less like a trophy and more like a natural ripening. Because awakening is not a prize for the self. Awakening is the softening of self-centered things into wisdom and compassion. That is the whole point. Thank you for staying with me through this long talk. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed that the more you tried to become advanced for yourself, the more stuck you became? And have you ever experienced that when you genuinely wished to reduce suffering for others, your mind suddenly loosened and practice became lighter? Share your story in the comments. Your honesty might help someone who feels blocked and ashamed, even though they are trying. If you want more long-form videos like this, subscribe to the channel and like the video so these conversations reach the people who need a calm mirror. And if you want to support the channel more deeply, consider becoming a member so we can keep creating long practical teachings that you can listen to like steady companionship. Take one slow breath before you go. Feel your shoulders soften. And remember, if you want awakening to become real, do not chase it like a trophy. Let your heart widen. Let compassion lead. Then the path stops being stuck, and destiny starts changing from the root.
There are moments when you see something, and your heart simply whispers, "This one is meant for me." Bracelet carries more than beads. It carries intention, protection, and quiet strength. Something to guide your thoughts and keep your spirit steady. If you felt that gentle pull toward any of the bracelets shown, the purchase link is waiting in the description, and the full collection is displayed on our channel store. Follow your intuition. It rarely leads you wrong.